So I just joined the Univision after I've just hit my 90-day mark, 3 months, and 3.5 months ago I retired after 26 years of service with the FBI. You know, one of the things I did mention with respect to that is, again, I'm going to be always very biased towards law enforcement, having been there and seen it from that side, and know how truly and genuinely they want to work with the private sector. So I've got kind of that advantage now at Univision, knowing that I've seen that on that side, and for all the companies and industry a lot of times that are very hesitant to work with law enforcement, I'm encouraging them to go ahead and work with law enforcement, particularly the FBI, because they truly do want to help. You know, there's always a little bit of hesitancy to work with the FBI because they're not 100% sure, and that's why one of the things we talked about in there was, you know, establishing that trust and relationship with that person and having and knowing that person on a first name basis. You know, the last thing you want to do when some crisis occurs is meet for the first time during the crisis, right? We have a beautiful sunny day today. That's when you should be meeting these folks and having those conversations about your concerns and sharing the information, or at least understanding what is the information that might be needed in the event that a crisis does occur. And then at the end of the day, really just exchanging names and being able to know when that does happen, that somebody's going to show up, and at least you know who they are and why they're there and what they can contribute. I know there's a huge push on the government side to do outreach. That was one of my mandates, to get out there and do that type of outreach. There's a lot of councils, and the FBI in particular with Department of Homeland Security has created the Domestic Security Alliance Council that does exactly that. It works with the private sector and does that outreach to educate the private sector as to what it is that they do. You know, the days, of what I call the Hoover days, where the FBI owned all the information, are over. You know, all that information, 90% of that information is out there in the public and in the private sector, and we as the FBI have to make ourselves more approachable, and that's why you're starting to see that a lot more than you did before. So it's sitting down with the stakeholders and again telling them a little bit about why you're there and how you're going to help them. Once they see that you're there to help, just like law enforcement in any respect, I kind of use that same approach. I'm really here to help you because, and not only that, but you help me, and let them know that, you know, especially security is everyone's job. You know, just like anything else, you have to leverage everybody's strengths and help them contribute to it, but they have to embrace it and understand it before they do that. I think, you know, because of technology, just like anything else, it's so difficult to stay ahead of the game, and that's why it's important. You know, again, the government a lot of times is looking at things 24/7 all the time because of national security reasons, for many different reasons. So to me, it's important to stay aligned with them and be talking to them to know what are the crime trends, what are the things that are happening, and then see how that relates to your respective industry or company. That intelligence that exists and really sits within the private sector is one that we have to exploit a little bit more and see how we can use that to stay ahead of the game, in particular with technology now. One of the things I always say to the folks, you know, and our the FBI director always said, you know, unity is our biggest weapon against anything, and you know, it's based on a very simple premise, and it's just, you know, being together and working together, we're just much smarter and stronger than we are apart. So just always remember that simple premise. It's an important one.